Ready, ready? Yeah. Yeah?
An auteur is a film director who puts their own stamp in.
Didn't have you much luck. Turn off that power. Power button there. Right. You just play the you'll play the sound out the speakers, yeah?
Okay.
Go again.
An auteur is a film director who puts their own stamp on every film they are involved in. You automatically recognise that this is their work. Their films may follow the same themes, content or techniques and show their vision like they are the author of the film. Their filmography may often be classed together as a set of work following one theme or technique. And these are a few quotes from him.
Okay.
And then for mise en scène, I did The Shining.
Should be done with you.
For costume and makeup, both characters are wearing what look like normal clothes, but Jack's red jacket could remind the audience of fear and anger because of the colour red. They're both wearing check shirts, which could tell the audience what kind of time period they're in. Wendy's character is crying, therefore her face is red and sweaty. This makes the audience feel sympathetic for her because of the way she looks. The prop of the baseball bat makes the audience feel like Wendy's trying to protect herself. They don't feel like she's going to use it to harm anyone, and they know she's holding it to make herself feel safer, just in case Jack's angry dialogue turns into physical violence. She clings onto it as if just by holding it, it's protecting her. The audience feels sorry for her because she really is helpless, and we can tell even though she's holding the bat, because we know she can't use it against him. The audience will feel sympathetic for her even though he isn't holding a prop. His movement makes the audience feel scared of him. Jack's facial expressions at the beginning of the scene are extremely patronising, as if he's more superior to Wendy. Throughout the whole scene, he's walking towards her as she walks backwards, trying to get away from him. The way he follows her makes the audience feel tense and on edge because they know that if he gets too close, she won't be able to run away quick enough because she's walking backwards. The camera moves from a two-shot and it follows the characters as they're both moving, staying in a medium shot to show the character's body movement and facial expression. When he begins to move his hands in a violent motion, his anger begins to build from his angry facial expression, and as he hits his fist on his hand, he's talking with his hands to show his anger towards her and his early signs of insanity because he's extremely angry for no reason. The scene is set in the hotel's lobby, a place where what should be filled with a number of people coming in and out, but it's empty, showing that Wendy is helpless because the audience know that no one's there. We can see the background of a wide open empty lobby area showing that she's even more helpless, making the audience feel more scared for her. And the next clip is from A Clockwork Orange. The setting is dark and eerie, and the character is laid down on the floor outside with a slope behind him. The props of the empty bottles of alcohol tell the audience that the character is extremely drunk. The slope that the character is lying on could make the audience feel like the character is extremely vulnerable when the character is stood over him. The prop of the metal stick makes the audience feel scared because they know that the men are going to use it to hurt the drunk man because he can't run away. The four men are all dressed in white, even though the colour white is associated with everything that's good. The way they're dressed, all in white and all wearing the same big black boots, makes them look creepy, as if they're in a gang. The character lies still on the ground, and the prop of the empty alcohol bottles tell the audience that he's unable to move or stand up because he's drunk, so they know he won't be going anywhere. We see the shadows of the four men before we actually see them, creating a tense, creepy feeling for the audience, because the shadows create darkness upon the drunk man, making him look even more vulnerable. They all stand over him until one steps forward suddenly, showing the audience that he is probably the leader of the group, because he's the first one to make a move and make use of the metal stick. The drunk man then looks scared, and this will make the audience wonder what's going to happen. To show the leader of the group's face, there's a close-up to exaggerate what he's saying. To show his creepy expression, this will make the audience feel tense and scared. When they begin to beat up the drunk man, they all stand over him and beat him at the same time as if they don't care. And then for my comparison, I did Misery and my other scene from The Shining. And I chose this film because it has a similar narrative to The Shining, because the characters have insane and sadistic characteristics. This clip is similar because the main character that is sadistic is doing all the talking, while the other character is helpless and trapped. She talks in a patronising tone, just like Jack in The Shining. The other character thinks he has the weapon like Wendy in The Shining does, but the woman has already got it in her hand, making the audience feel like he's more vulnerable. In The Shining, Wendy is helpless because Jack is following her as she walks backwards, slowly trying to get away from him. The empty reception area of the hotel makes her look even more helpless because a place where a lot of people should be is empty. In Misery, the character Paul is helpless because he's tied to a bed, unable to move. Thinking he has a weapon under the mattress, the character Annie reveals that she has it, making him look even more helpless to the audience. In The Shining, Jack uses his words to threaten Wendy as he gets more and more angry, using big hand gestures and movements to show how angry he really is and how insane he's becoming. Whereas in Misery, Annie uses a patronising voice and actual violence. Stanley Kubrick directs The Shining in a better way than the similar narrative of Misery. This is because he creates more patronising dialogue and he makes the character more scary because of the way he speaks. But in Misery, the character's dialogue is threatening as well as patronising. In The Shining, the character's movement and hand gestures make him threatening, and his dialogue makes him patronising, therefore creating a better insane character. The way Stanley edited this clip to make it look like Wendy was helpless, because he's following her as she's walking backwards, make the audience feel more scared for Wendy, but in Misery, he's tied to a bed and the audience already know what's going to happen. In The Shining, the audience don't know if Wendy's going to get away or not. Stanley creates a tense vibe for the audience, but in Misery, the vibe isn't as tense, it's conventional, and the audience already expect what's going to happen. And then for sound, I did another clip from The Shining. The non-diegetic sounds of the violins get louder as the go-kart goes further away from the camera, and you can also hear the diegetic sound of the go-kart. The way the high-pitched violins get louder as the character reaches the end of the hallway, they stop abruptly as he reaches the end. This will make the audience feel tense as if something's going to happen, but then it doesn't, making them wonder why the music builds up so much. It begins to build up again as he goes down another hallway, then stops abruptly, creating a tense, fearful vibe because of the loud chime. Different types of creepy sounding instruments fade into each other, creating an eerie feeling for the audience. Dialogue of the twins speaking, but their voices echo. Non-diegetic trumpets are in the background as the character stares at the twins. As the scene changes to the twins lying dead on the floor, the non-diegetic chimes make a bang, emphasising the fear that the character feels. The sound of flutes and trumpets rise up as the twins use threatening dialogue. The trumpets rise up as the character's facial expression turns to horror, and as he puts his hands over his eyes, the trumpets stop abruptly. Non-diegetic trumpets begin to rise again and become a hopeful type of sound as he takes his hands away from his eyes slowly. Then at the end there's dialogue of the character talking to his imaginary friend with non-diegetic music getting louder, then quiet as he continues to talk to himself.
Yeah?
Stanley Kubrick is an auteur because when you watch a scene from one of his films, you can tell he has directed it. He likes long shots to make the scene longer and creepier. The shots are always wide to show everything that's happening in the scene. He liked to take over and make sure the scene was filmed in the exact way that he wanted. His films were always controversial and received a lot of varied feedback from audiences. His ongoing theme in his films was sex and/or violence or profound statements on the nature of mankind.
Right, see you, John. Cool. Have you got your phone or something?